The Galactic Academic Consortium had gathered in the pristine halls of Kepler Station, their crystalline forms and chitinous appendages gleaming under the sterile white lights. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the podium, the only human among the assembled, alien scholars feeling remarkably small yet oddly confident. "The petition before us today," announced Vexthul, the insectoid chair of the history department, his mandibles clicking with barely concealed disdain, "concerns the human request for inclusion in our galactic historical archive. However, preliminary analysis suggests that humans possess no significant historical record worthy of preservation." A ripple of agreement passed through the assembly. The Zephyrians, with their translucent blue skin, nodded in unison. The rock-like Granthek delegates rumbled their approval. To them, human civilization was a mere blink, a few thousand years compared to their own millennia-spanning empires. "If I may," Dr. Chen stepped forward, her tablet clutched firmly in her hands. "I believe there's been a fundamental misunderstanding about human history." Professor Kethvar, a towering 8-foot Altarian with silver skin that reflected like liquid mercury, gestured dismissively. "Young species, your civilization spans barely 6,000 of your years. The Altarian Empire alone has maintained continuous records for over 50,000 years. What could your brief existence possibly contribute to galactic knowledge?" Dr. Chen's eyes hardened. "You're measuring the wrong metric. You're counting years of peace and prosperity. We measure our history differently." She activated her holographic display. The first image that appeared was ancient. Cave paintings from Lascaux, crude but unmistakably human. "This is where it begins," she said quietly. 30,000 years ago. But let me show you what makes human history unique." The display shifted to show the ancient city of Troy in flames. The Trojan War fought over Helen, a woman so beautiful she launched 1,000 ships. But it wasn't really about beauty. It was about honor, loyalty, and the refusal to surrender what we believed was ours. The siege lasted 10 years. 10 years of brilliant tactical warfare that ended not in brute force, but in deception so elegant that we still teach it today. Vexthul's compound eyes fixed on the display. One city. One small conflict. Dr. Chen smiled grimly. That was just the prologue. The hologram changed to show the narrow pass of Thermopylae. 300 Spartans held off an army of hundreds of thousands. They knew they would die. They chose to die. Because sometimes the strategic value of a heroic last stand exceeds the tactical value of retreat. The Persian Empire learned that day that humans don't always calculate cost-benefit ratios the way other species do. She continued without pause, the images flowing faster now. Alexander the Great conquered the known world by age 30. The Roman Empire lasted 1,000 years, built on military genius and engineering prowess. The Mongols created the largest, contiguous land empire in history through revolutionary cavalry tactics and psychological warfare. The alien scholars began leaning forward. The Zephyrians' bioluminescent patterns flickered with interest. The medieval period brought us Agincourt, where English longbowmen destroyed French heavy cavalry, the Crusades, the 100 Years' War. Each conflict more complex than the last, requiring innovations in strategy, technology, and logistics. Dr. Chen's voice gained intensity. Then came the gunpowder age. The 30 Years' War taught us that ideology could be more deadly than territory. We learned to fight not just for land or resources, but for ideas. Napoleon revolutionized warfare itself, introducing conscription, artillery coordination, and rapid maneuver tactics that influenced military thinking for centuries. The display showed the trenches of World War I, the Great War, the first industrial-scale conflict. We turned our factories into weapon makers and our citizens into soldiers. Chemical weapons, machine guns, artillery barrages that lasted months. We learned that technology could amplify human destructiveness beyond all previous imagination. Professor Kethvar's silver skin rippled. "This is concerning. Your species appears to excel at destruction." "No," Dr. Chen shook her head. "We excel at adaptation under pressure. World War II proved that. Blitzkrieg, radar, code breaking, atomic weapons, strategic bombing, amphibious assault, combined arms tactics. We revolutionized warfare in 6 years more than most species do in millennia. The hologram showed D-Day, the beaches of Normandy. 150,000 humans stormed a fortified coastline. They knew thousands would die in the first hour. They went anyway, because we understood that some battles determine the fate of civilizations. She gestured to the Cold War display. Then we learned to wage war without fighting. Proxy conflicts, intelligence operations, technological races that pushed us to the moon and beyond. We turned warfare into science, and science into warfare. The alien scholars sat in stunned silence as images of modern conflicts filled the display. Desert storm, precision warfare. We could destroy a building without damaging the one next to it. Afghanistan, Iraq. We learned that victory isn't always about winning. Sometimes it's about endurance, adaptation, and the willingness to persist when others would quit. Dr. Chen turned off the display and faced the assembly. You asked about our history. This is our history. Not the history of a peaceful species that slowly developed over millennia, but the history of a species that has been refining the art of conflict for 30,000 years. Every defeat taught us something. Every victory raised the stakes. She smiled, and there was something predatory in it. We don't just have history, honored colleagues. We have a library of warfare that spans every possible terrain, every conceivable, tactical situation, every form of conflict from individual combat to global war. We've fought ourselves so often and so intelligently that we've become very, very good at fighting anyone. Vexthul's mandibles clicked nervously. And now you seek to join our peaceful galactic consortium? Yes, Dr. Chen nodded. Because we've finally learned the most important lesson of all. The ultimate victory isn't defeating your enemies, it's making them into friends. That's a strategic insight 30,000 years of warfare taught us. The vote was unanimous. Humanity was granted full membership. After all, every galactic civilization occasionally needed to consult with experts on winning impossible wars.